Bienvenidos una vez más a Puro Pinche Gol. This is the podcast where we discuss all things Liga MX y Selección Mexicana. If this is your first time with us, my name is Adrian Cruz. I am one of your favorite tocayos, and your second favorite tocayo is here with me. Adrian, how's it going, man?
Good, Tocayo. Doing well, man. Wednesday evening. It's going to be a good evening today. Tigres going to win. Going to call it right now. But we have Liga MX this evening, so it's going to be good. But doing good, man. Ready to talk Mexico. It's been a while since we talked La Selección Mexicana just because of Liguilla. But ready to talk, the importance that is this Friday for La Selección Mexicana. Why don't you let viewers know, Adrian, what's happening this Friday?
Sure, man. So this Friday, what we all been waiting for the last 4 years has been World Cup 2026. And on December 5th, which is this weekend, FIFA will have or host their World Cup group stage draw in Washington, D.C. And that's the reason why we're here. We're here to discuss the potential, what we think could be the group of death or group of life for specifically Mexico. Man, before you and I start giving each other our specific groups of death and life, the couple of things that I want to mention for this draw is just so everyone's aware. There's a couple of, I guess, caveats here where I believe, if I'm not mistaken, no group shall have more than one team from the same confederation, with the exception of the European Confederation, right? They can have up
Yep.
to two teams per group because of the amount of European teams that we're going to have on this World Cup. But that's pretty much it. That's the only rule that FIFA is implementing on this group stage draw. And without further ado, man, let's start rolling. All right.
Yeah, Adrian, real quick, one
Mhm.
other small rule that they implemented this time, Adrian, that I want to bring up that it doesn't really apply to Mexico, but it does apply to the overall aspect of the World Cup. The top four ranked teams are officially going to be put
Yes,
in different corners of the pot. So they can, a top ranked four team cannot play another top ranked four team until the semifinals, right? So
exactly.
very, very important when before you could have a random, I don't know, Germany versus France in the round of 16. No more. If they win their group, the top ranked four teams will not see each other until the final semifinals. And Adrian, this is the first 48 nation World Cup ever, and it's the first change since '98 when there was the first 32 World Cup. So big change here, and yeah, let's get into it, man.
Exactly. And as of this moment, if I'm not mistaken, which I think is gonna remain the same until Friday, Spain, Argentina, France, and England on that
Yep.
order are the first, or the top rated or top ranked FIFA teams as of today. So they won't see each other until semifinals or final. Uh,
That is correct.
Barring any upset, right?
Right.
That's
Right.
always the caveat here. But let's get rolling, my guy. Alrighty. So normally, how these things happen is, in this case, Mexico, it's going to be on pot one. We have the four different pots, right? Mexico is found
Yep.
on pot one, which means that its rivals are going to be coming one from pot two, one from pot three, and one from pot four. All of them
Correct.
aren't necessarily ranked by their FIFA ranking, but how they qualify to the World Cup. Depending on their regional qualification route, right? And so, who do you want to start with, dude? You want to start with the group of vets or the group of life?
I think Adrian, we before we get into that, let's name who's in each pot, no?
Gotcha. I mean, yeah, that totally makes sense. So people really know exactly
Yeah.
what pod looks like. And so I'll start with pod two. Pod two includes Croatia, Morocco, Colombia, Uruguay, Switzerland, Japan, Senegal, Iran, South Korea, Ecuador, Austria, and Australia, dude. That's pot two. All strong teams, with perhaps
Yeah.
Croatia being the toughest one there.
The strongest pot outside of the pot A, right? Obviously. Then the pots get weaker as we
Exactly.
go along. Pot three
Mhm.
being Norway, Panama, Egypt, Algeria, Scotland, Paraguay, Tunisia, Cote d'Ivoire, Uzbekistan, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, and South Africa.
Also, very interesting teams there. On pod number four, we only have one, two, three, four, five, six teams that are qualified already, which includes Jordan, Cape Verde, Ghana, Curacao, Haiti, and New Zealand. The remaining six will come from the playoffs happening between CONCACAF and CONCACAF, CONMEBOL, Asia and Africa, which include could be anyone from New Caledonia, Jamaica, Democratic Republic of Congo, or Bolivia, Suriname, or Iraq. That's the, I guess, world, or I don't know how we want to call it, like, I guess, playoff, world playoff, or whatever we want to call it,
Yeah.
because there's a UEFA specific playoff which includes teams like Italy, Northern Ireland, Wales, Bosnia and Herzegovina. You also have Ukraine, Sweden, Poland, Albania, Turkey, Romania, Slovakia, Kosovo, and then you have Denmark, North Macedonia, the Czech Republic, and the Republic of Ireland, dude. So it's a bunch of
Yep.
teams in Europe that are still in contention for this World Cup. But I mean, I don't know about you, but I built my groups based on what teams have qualified as of right now, because I don't really know exactly what's going to happen. We don't even know if Italy's going to have a strong playoff here. They haven't qualified for the last World Cup, and so I wouldn't be surprised if they are out this year again. But those are the pots,
I
man.
agree.
Those are the names that we're going to be using tonight. And who do you want to start with? You want to start with the group of light? Sorry, yeah, the group of light or the group of death? Group of life or group
Start
of
with the group
death?
of life. Yeah, life of
Alrighty,
life, group of life,
keeping it.
because yeah, keep the suspense toward the end. You know it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it, man.
Alrighty.
So
Um,
you started
why
off.
don't you start? Why don't you start us off here? I started off. All right, I'll start it off then.
All right,
For
you
me,
started off.
I think the best case group for Mexico, which I call my group of life, includes Austria, includes Saudi Arabia, and it has New Zealand for obvious reasons, right? I think out of
Yep.
all the pot two teams that come from UEFA, I believe Austria could be statistically, if I'm not mistaken, the lowest rank of UEFA right now. I don't think Mexico has ever faced them in a World Cup stage. And I don't think Austria has a lot of like good, strong World Cup pedigree in the recent years. They must have been good back in the olden days, but contemporarily speaking, I don't think Austria is like a very tough team. All things
I agree.
considered, right? It isn't like Mexico is necessarily doing great, but I don't think Austria is necessarily, too tough for Mexico. Saudi Arabia for me, it's a rival that Mexico has faced before. I think both on the World Cup and friendlies recently, and also including I think the Gold Cup, Mexico has been able to pretty much find ways to beat them without even having any obstacles or um, difficulty. So I believe Saudi Arabia should. It's another easy one. It was either between Saudi Arabia and Qatar, and I think Saudi Arabia is slightly worse than Qatar. So I will take Saudi Arabia any minute, and then New Zealand for obvious reasons. But I think when we look at the head-to-head statistics of Mexico against New Zealand, Mexico has a strong winning record against New Zealand: 7 wins, 1 draw, and 1 loss. And honestly, I mean, if we look at all the confederations, the Oceania Football Confederation, it's always the one that has the weakest teams. And so why not
Yeah.
include New Zealand here?
Yeah.
That's
No,
that's my group of
Adrian.
life.
I'm not gonna. I'm gonna change it up a little just to not echo you completely, but I'm kind of right there with you, Adrian. I think it's Austria group from Pot B. In Pot three, I'm gonna say it's Cote d'Ivoire, Ivory Coast, Costa Marfil.
Hmm.
It is not your Dios Costa Marfil. This is a
No.
very Costa Marfil that just qualified because it expanded to 48 groups or 48 teams. So I think if there is ever going to be a squad, an African squad that Mexico is going to be feeling confident against, it's going to be this one. And I think same as you, New Zealand, for the same reasons. Mexico performed very well against Oceanic. We've seen in the past when they've had to go, and I think it was 2018 World Cup when they had to go play a playoff against Oceanic, and they won. Mexico has a great track record against this team from this region, and I think that's going to be the group of life for La Selección Mexicana.
Yeah, definitely. Because even if you look at the playoff teams that might qualify through there, I don't think there's I mean, barring all the CONCACAF ones because they cannot be drawn with Mexico on the same group.
Yeah,
I would rather have New Zealand over Italy, or sorry, not Italy in this case, or maybe yeah, Italy, or any of the European teams. Honestly, even the Republic of
yeah,
Ireland, or I don't know,
I agree.
may, maybe New Caledonia could be one that I take over New Zealand. But as I
Yeah.
said, we only did this based on the names that we had at the time. Why don't you kick us off with your group of death, dude? Let's look at your toughest group for Mexico.
So my toughest group for Mexico, like you mentioned in the start of this video, I think from Pot B, the strongest opponent is going to be Croatia. Though, I would say
Hmm.
Morocco is close, very close second. I think
Yeah,
Morocco's been fantastic in all levels of football the last 4 years, and they can make life hell for Mexico for sure. So Croatia for pot two. Pot three, I had who did I have here? Uzbekistan. I think Uzbekistan is Asia, right? They're not UEFA. I forget where they crossed
that is
that line.
correct. Uzbekistan is
Yeah,
Asia. That's correct.
yeah. And then I have Ghana. Assuming we don't know right now who's going to qualify in the playoff the playoff matches, I think Ghana is the strongest of the remaining ones. An African team that has World Cup experience, has quality players to qualify. Maybe not doing the best we've seen the last 15 years of Ghana, but it's still going to be a difficult match for Mexico if they do indeed get pitted against them. But I mean, again, I think obviously they can have another European team, right? I'm looking at the list here. I'm not looking at my phone. I'm looking at the list, and it looks like
No,
this
no.
is one of the teams that they can get another European squad, right? So maybe an
Hmm.
Italy or a Turkey. We know it can be
Yeah, that would be a
difficult,
tough one.
but yeah, I think from the qualified teams, Adrian, those are my three. What about you, dude?
I find your Uzbekistan pick very interesting because I believe I don't know anything about Uzbeki football, but I've been reading some lately, and I've been watching some videos from other content creators, and all of them are calling Uzbekistan to be a sleeper team, which I firmly
Yeah,
believe it's definitely in route to be one of the strongest teams in Asia in general. So that is a great point, man. A good note there. For me, in my case, I think Croatia definitely is the strongest pot two team that Mexico can be paired up with. I mean, as we know, they were runner-ups in 2018. They third place in 2022, and they just have world-class players on their midfield, specifically on that
yeah,
portion of the pitch. I think almost always historically speaking, when Croatia has shown up to the world, with the exception of maybe 2014, they have punched above their weight. And I don't expect this to be a different situation. I think the other European side that Mexico can be paired up with that comes from pot three is going to be Norway. And I know that historically speaking, Norway is not great in the world stage. But as of right now, if you look at the roster that they have, of course, including the names of
yeah.
Erling Haaland, Martin Odegaard, and Nusa, they are a very tough team that is that I just think could be very difficult for Mexico. All things considered, right? They are physical, they are fast, they know how to play from behind. Um, I think it's just going to be a very tough situation for Mexico, specifically on set pieces, man. And then lastly,
I think it gives
I'm gonna
Poland 2022 vibes. You
exactly,
know,
exactly. And you know that freaking Erling Haaland is just going to tear up Johan Vasquez and Cesar Montes if given the chance. And initially I had Ghana, but I'm going to space it up a little bit, just like you did on the group of life. And I'm going to deviate from Ghana and choose Cape Verde. I know Cape Verde this is perhaps their first World Cup showing up, and I think that's what makes it will. I think that's the reason why it will be a difficult team to play against, because they don't have anything to lose and everything to show up for. Cape Verde definitely. I think they qualified, if I'm not mistaken, top of the African. Not necessarily like number one, but they qualify directly. No need for additional
you're right, right.
um, games, right? And so I feel that Cape Verde right now is slightly higher than Ghana in the FIFA rankings, but just because of that reason that they want to prove the world they mean business. I think it's going to be a tough one, including and obviously they have a bunch of Portuguese players on their squad as well, or I guess with Portuguese heritage, right? Or
Yeah.
from that have Cape Verde parents and were born in Portugal. For a better explanation, but yeah, I think Cape Verde could be a very interesting
Interesting. Interesting.
rival for
Yeah.
Mexico. Yeah. hmm I think, all things considered, you and I can be completely wrong as to how Mexico gets grouped, and we'll see this Friday. But I think you and I agree that for one, Croatia, it's going to be a hell of a, it's going to be a hell of a match for
Yeah.
Mexico. And I think we also agree that New Zealand will be the easiest one that Mexico can get based on what is currently on the list of qualified teams. But yeah, man, I mean, listen, I think you and I have discussed this previously. And no matter what it's in front of Mexico in this draw, I firmly believe that FIFA is going to do what FIFA does and either push the USMNT or Mexico towards either the top 8 teams or even a semifinal. Um,
Wow.
and for whatever reason, man, I just feel that I dreamt of this before, man. I've been having this dream where I see Mexico against Argentina on a semifinal, and then I see the USMNT against Portugal on another semifinal, and the final is Cristiano Ronaldo versus Messi. I don't know why, but this is how I feel about it.
Man, what are you drinking, man? Because I want some.
That's
Oh
how I
god.
feel.
Well, yeah, it'll take a huge effort from the Concacaf team to do that. But Adrian, I'm gonna take a little of a maybe not such an ambitious prediction, but I think that Mexico, regardless of who they get, is gonna win the group. I think they have enough to beat any of the teams in Pot A and Pot B on their day, Pot C as well, and Pot D. I think Pot D is the most complicated one because I think Mexico can get screwed with like an Italy that maybe picks up right before. We know
Yeah.
Italy has players, right? And
Mhm.
they're playing horribly right now, barely going to maybe qualify. But if they qualify, they're a big team, historic team, and that could be a factor. But I think Mexico should top the group regardless of who's in their group. We have not less talent, but this World Cup, since it's expanded more, there's a bigger range in talent. So Mexico will be facing countries that they've never faced before. Mexico will be facing, wild cards, but I still think and I'm confident that Mexico, no matter who they get placed with, going to be playing at home, going to be playing in a new Estadio Azteca renovado, are going to be too much and are going to win and top the group. But that's my way, 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 way,
That-
way early prediction.
I mean, I want to second your thoughts. I do feel that Mexico definitely has the opportunity to be competitive. Can they defeat the strongest teams in Pot 2? That's something that we got to see. So far, if we look at down the list, they haven't defeated Japan this year, South Korea, Uruguay, Colombia,
Yep.
um, Ecuador, I
Yep.
want to say, and
Yeah,
Australia.
you're
So,
right.
and Switzerland. I mean, all,
Pretty tight
all
Ecuador.
of
Yeah.
those, almost all. Yeah, I think almost all of that pot two Mexico wasn't able to win against this year, but this is a different story, right? 2025 is not the same story as 2026. So hopefully Mexico picks up the slack and finds a way to beat these teams if they get potted or grouped with them in 2026. Man,
Yeah.
I think this is it. I think we have to wish Mexico the best of luck. See if they get one of our groups of light or a mix, right? Something in between will be nice as well.
Yeah.
Just as long as Mexico can make it out of the group stage, I think it's what we all aim for. But this is our episode about the upcoming draw. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Instagram and TikTok. We post memes, latest news, and shorts of our episodes, man. It's always a pleasure to chat with you, dude. Get ready to see
Likewise.
Tigres in a
Likewise.
minute. It's a big semifinals. Uh, roster tonight, and so let's enjoy some Liga MX.
Let's do it, brother. A good episode, man. I'll see you in the next one.
Take it easy.